Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you the coolest custom creations I happen to see people building in LEGO bricks throughout this last week. Like always, there are way more than 10 creations. I've left links in the description below to as many links as possible until the character limit runs out. So if you do have any extra time or want to check out some of these designers, you have access down below. Also down there is a link to our web store, www.brickvault.toys. The custom building instructions that have gone up this last week come from the designer Fukusaku, and this is his third wave of micro Clone Wars builds. They are sized to 1:250 scale, so they match up with the rest of the micro Star Wars designs. He's got some amazing, strange little connections that create those really recognizable features, and if any of these builds look cool to you and you might want to build them yourself, remember you can get those instructions linked in the description below. All right, let's jump into some honorable mentions now before top 10. Marco de Bon's Lego Mech Sentinel has a great looking shape, a really big and sharp tail. Moko has some really fun Iron Builder contest designs. One is a time bomb, and I also enjoyed this cockpit scene as well. Anthony Wilson's Riot Flea has some amazing shapes, and from Mark Whiskey, this is a CI Golem. You should check out the Flickr to see how this mech unfolds from this mobile tank unit. Filler Brix half Borg Cube is probably one of the greatest examples of LEGO greebling of all time, and Thomas Guion set up this amazing shot of his Speed Champions MOCs. He's got just about every color of the rainbow here. The simple title for this scene is R from Ralph Langer. Too many amazing techniques are hidden in here to even get started on describing it. This diorama of the Yavin 4 Rebel Base Strategy Center really kind of brings me back to the larger diorama that my brother and I worked on that never got finished. It looks amazing. This is from the designer, the creator. There's this great Japanese builder, Mooney Bekon, that I just recently discovered. This is a video of a box that opens on its own, but there's a bunch of other cool ones. From Mischief, this Nightmare Fuel design is called Ring-Tailed Tertiary. Somebody let me know what that blue piece is around the eyes. It looks familiar, but I can't quite place it. And lastly, from John Moffat, this is a digital design of a CV-83 twin bomber. Alrighty, now let's jump into my top 10 favorite of the week. I'm not presenting them in any particular order of best to worst, just my 10 favorite builds. This first one here is from Mark of Falworth, and the title is Storst Castle. I think this is actually the biggest build I've seen from the week, and there are just details galore. The land is convincingly lush on the ground, a lot of bright greens and deeper, darker greens that underlie the bottom. I love the stone paths. I like the little builds for the sheep. There's a lot of extra dimension added to the wave detailing for the water, and the castle truly does feel like a full-sized castle. It is absolutely massive in the corner. Tons of great details to enjoy for this gigantic MOC, even the gold in the cave hidden on the other corner. And now we're looking at just an excellent, clean design from the G Bricks. This is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Hope I said that right. This is just an amazing looking 8-stud wide car. This car has a somewhat strange triangular shape that's very recognizable once you see it, and the combination of intricate and unconventional connections used to create the front of this car are absolutely next level. There are so many odd little angles that all happen to match up properly. Just the right pieces are used in just the right places, and it just manages to hold on to a very clean look that spans the rest of the body of this car as you move back. And there's even quite a bit of space for an interior. Once again, I fully support Speed Champions moving to the 8-stud wide design, and this is the reason why you can just fit more amazing shapes and details into the cars that you absolutely love. From Hugo, this is part of the Dark Times RPG. The title here is Coruscant Underworld. As a single piece, it is a very impressive large-scale building and industrial looking futurescape, and the grungy, dirty, foreboding atmosphere is captured super well. There's a nice combination of harsh lines of greebling that cut through certain areas of this build while being contrasted with incredibly smooth parts of what could be just a metallic exterior. The characters that inhabit this place are all very unique and somewhat intimidating, and that bit of BrickVault signage on sort of the center area of the model has a nice way of grabbing your attention but not popping out in a way that's too distracting. I don't know the name of this designer, nor are these photos titled, but what we're looking at here is a very large-scale, amazing-looking library. The building for the exterior feels like a simple sort of modern style, and that lends itself quite well for these large windows that you have surrounding it on all areas. Really what grabbed me is the wonderful, warm, large, open interior of this library. The stacked books and bookcases work quite well. I like the little walkway that goes around the second floor where you can see down into the first level quite easily. And without too much modification to the base, I feel like a version of this MOC could actually exist within a modular cityscape. It's just a really fun looking model, and now we are jumping over to what I think is one of the most visually appealing builds that I've seen all year. The designer is Carolyn Mockett, ARPS on Flickr, and the title here is Monofigure Habitats, the Whole Stack. So there are individual pictures of each one of these mono-colored builds. These are not digital, so that means they're made with pieces that all actually appear within this certain color spectrum that you see. In the world of custom building, designers often find themselves limited by the certain pieces that exist in certain colors and don't exist in other colors. But what I find in these models is that the designer specifically sought out special pieces that only exist in one color and really used that as a seed or a source of inspiration to create a scene around it. There's really quite a lot to get lost in for each one of these scenes. There's a completely different world built into this little monocolor section, and when you have them all stacked up together, it is just such an impressive art piece. Personally, my favorite builds are the dark tan, lime green, and light pink, but you guys let me know which ones you think grab your attention the most. If you're keeping track of the numbers, number 5, moving down, is from the builder Roger Cageot. This large-scale medieval diorama is a little smaller than the one that we just looked at, with some details that feel a bit more intimate. The main structure itself has a lot more of that nice, intricate stone greebling detail. There's a bit more color thrown in there as well with the dark tan. It seems to be surrounded by a small moat or marshland. We've got some wonderfully inlaid tile pieces that make up the stone walkway that leads up to that drawbridge path. The organic details have a lot of attention given to them, and the large cylindrical tower at the back end of this structure has a wonderful shape. And there's excellent details for a descending staircase that go down into the belly of this building. This is a great diorama because it gives you just about all the details you want from a medieval scene without it taking up like your entire room, which is often the case when it comes to these massive builds. From the designer Frederik Diehl, we have a micro-scale model of the LEGO World Trade Center. And by micro-scale, it's actually not that small. It still is a rather large build, or series of buildings, I should say, but there are just some absolutely excellent details captured when you look up close. In general, I'm a big fan of the texturing that we have for these buildings. It's a combination of trans clear and an underlying detail of blue, and tons of excellent details when you get to the very bottom where you see the World Trade Center Memorial, tons of trees, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was some type of commissioned LEGO design that's going to be up in some fancy office building somewhere. Now we're jumping down to build number 3 from the builder Mountain Hobbit. This is Arabian Streets. It's part of a building contest against MOCO, and this seed part is the crane grab job with axle and pinhole. That's the orange piece that you see hanging from, well, a few different areas on this build. I personally like the deep crevices that you have between the tiles at the very bottom. The nougat sort of brick detailing that sticks out along the tan walls has a way of popping quite well. The characters populate this world quite well, and it's just an excellent little scene that gets you right into the smaller LEGO details and makes you feel like you're almost inside this small marketplace. Number 2 is from Alex MOCs, and the title is Cursed. I mean, literally, that's the title, is Cursed. But this guy looks like he's cursed, doesn't he? Gosh, the gory details are excellent. I can't believe he has that, what is it, a trachea, some esophagus, something's leading down from the throat all the way into the belly. The intestines all look to be possibly severed, like you can see where they would have been scrambled together, but it's a bunch of openings around that pink area. He's holding what possibly could be his own heart. I like the chain details that seem to be hanging from the wrist. There's some evil black oozy stuff coming out of this book that he's reading. Must be a really good book. And it just works on every level. This is just such a creepy model that is perfectly titled Cursed. That works quite well. And now we're moving on to the last build of the week. It is a part of the Star Wars May the 4th Be With You build. Looks like it's done May 15th. That's totally fine. It is the Imperial Compound on Fondor II from H2 Brick. Immediately when I first saw this image, the inlay of that dark gray underneath the light bluish gray just popped out so excellently. It really does help create some nice angular shapes, adds a bit of extra dimension to this plated outside exterior, which normally could be such a boring kind of build. But the fact that there are some tasteful little studs added, some ingot pieces inlaid, different sized tile pieces, even some of those smaller triangular tiles that match up together. I mean, it really all comes together and it makes the wall feel like a big, large technical structure that really overshadows and overhangs all the smaller characters that you can see at the base, of which it looks like we have a reception for Thrawn, who's just arrived. There's some great detailings for small doors in the corners. Larger industrial vents go up one side and along the rooftop. There's a great build for a turret, what looks like maybe a communication center at the very top, and just a hint of the atmospheric dusty details right at the very bottom of this massive diorama. Anyways, it's just a super complete looking scene. I absolutely love all these details. Very clean, and it just does a convincing job of bringing the universe alive in this area. Anyways, those are my favorite top 10 mocks of the week. Let me know which ones were your favorites. Links are all in the description below if you want to learn more about these designers I've been talking about. If you enjoy our content, you can always like, subscribe, comment, share. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.